Hi everyone. In this video, we are going to continue from where we stopped. So in the previous video, we created the various routes that can take us to the various pages of our application. And in this video, we're going to go ahead and add some content to those different pages. For example, we need to work on our home page and our sign up page as well as our login page. So let's get started. So I need to go back to our Visual Studio Code. And now we are currently within our React code. So within here, I have a sign up page, I have the login page, I have the login page, the sign up page, the home page, and the create recipes page. So what I'm going to do is to start with the home page. So I'm going to change some of this text. So what I'll do is to actually add some welcome message here. So I'll say welcome recipes app. Nothing much. Just keep it simple for now. I need to also add a link, so we need to import link from React Router DOM. Then I'll just simply add a tool, and then this will take us to the sign up. So I'll say sign up, it take us to the sign up, and then we shall just say get started. So that when they click here, they'll be able to create accounts. So what I'll do is to actually say get started. I'm also going to style this up. So when I go back this side to our sign up page, refresh. So this is actually on our home page. If I went to home, you see that we have this link. It's not yet styled. So to style it with Bootstrap, I'll simply add some simple class. So I'll say class name. Then I'll give it a class name of button, and then button submit. So I can give it a button of submit. So when I come back, you see that now it's a button. So and when you click it, it takes us to our sign up page. So all I'll do is to actually so this is going to be btn. Btn actually I'll add a primary class to it for us to give it that background color. So if I give it a background color, we now see that it's like this. So we can also give it a class. So we can say btn large, and then it will increase in size. After increasing in size, we also realize that the container which it is in is so close to the navbar. So to fix this, we're going to use some custom styles. So we're going to create our own styles that are going to dictate how far this is going to be from the top. But right now, we see that it's within our home. So what we can actually do is to add a container. So I'll say this is going to be within a container. And then what I'll do is to actually create a simple folder that's going to contain all of our custom styles. So to do that, I'll just come within our source folder and create a new folder, which I'm going to call styles. And within our styles folder, what I'll actually do is to create a new file, which is CSS. Now within main.css, I'm simply going to add styling for the container, just to give it a little padding, a little margin from the top. Now what I will do is to actually say margin top is going to be equal to. I need to save this and keep things simple for now. So when I go to include those, I'll just come and say import say dot slash in styles, then I include that main dot css. If I save this, I'll just go right to my home page and I refresh. You see that now our container is having a margin top of 50. So what I'll actually do is to go to our index.js and remove the container class from our so our whole app has been wrapped in container. So if I stop that, we shall actually see that now the container is only for the things that are within our app. Let's go ahead and try to so we've seen that now we've been able to actually work on our home page. So it has this styling, and then we have a button that tells us to get started and redirects us to our home page. So we can also increase the size of this to make it a little bit bigger. What we can actually do is to come. So what I'll do is to actually come here. I can give it a class name, heading. So what I can actually do is to actually style that. So I can give it so I can say dot heading, and then I can give it a font size to make it bigger. So I'll say a font size, and then I can give it a font size of, let's say, 3 em. So when I save it, see that it has now increased in size. So basically, when you click on our get started, we can go to the sign up page. So let's go ahead and also try to create a sign up form. So you're going to be using React Bootstrap components that help us to create forms. So they help us to use a form component and then use form groups, form controls to give us nice looking forms. Let's go ahead and try to do that. So we need to go within our sign up. We need to go to our signup.js. And now we're simply having a class of, a div with a class of home having our content, which is sign up page. So I'll also wrap this within a container. So I'm going to actually wrap this within a container. Sorry for this. I'll wrap this within a container. Now we see that our sign up page is now just the same. So after doing that, I'll just come and create simple div. So I'll create another div which I'm going to give a class name. So I'll give it a class name of form. After doing this, one thing is to just put this heading right in here. So when I put this heading right here, I'll create a form. So I'm just going to say form. Then our form is simply going to make use of the different form components from React Bootstrap. So the first one thing I'll do is to say form. So I'm going to import the form component. So I'll come right here and say import. So what I'm going to do is to import form Bootstrap. So if you want to find out more about the form component and how to use forms, I'm going to leave the link down in the description. What I'll do is to actually save import form. Then this is going to be a form from React Bootstrap. And after importing our form, what I'll actually do is to come and create. So we're going to group our labels and our inputs within form groups. Form groups help us to organize those in such a way that they can be able to be grouped and we have better styling on them. So what I'll do is to actually come and say, so this is going to be our form. I'll say this is going to be our form group. So I'll say dot form group, form dot group. And then within here, I'll say form. So I'll basically create a label by saying form dot label. Then this label is going to be so I can add actually create this label and then it's going to be a label for our username. Then within this, I'll come and say form dot control. So this is going to be form dot control, and then I'm going to close this. So within here, I'll specify type of the form control. So in this case, I'll say type is going to be equal to. So in this case, I'll say our type is going to be equal to text. And then when I save this, go back to our sign up page. I'm going to refresh this and try to see. So we now see that we are having a form group with our username. So let's go ahead and also try to do the same for our email. So we can also add a placeholder. For example, I can come and say a placeholder. So I can add a placeholder right here and then say that this placeholder is going to be, let's just say your username. So I'll do the same for email. So one thing I'm going to do is to actually copy this. So copy paste it. So I'll create one for the email. So in this case, it's going to be our email. In this case, when I say form control text, so in this case, it's going to be type. So I'll call this type email. So basically, a form.control component is what we call an input. And then you can also add the various attributes that belong to an input. For example, the type, the placeholder, and so on. This is going to be our email. And then I'll create the others for the password. So what I'll do is to actually come create password. So I'll come and add one for the password. And then right in here, I'll come and say this is going to be type of password. So our placeholder in this case is going to be your password. So say your password. So I'm going to save this. So right here we have your username, your email, your password. So even if we type here, we see that it's a password. So this is an input for email. Now the next thing is going to be to also add a confirm password field. So what I'll do is to actually say confirm password. So I'm going to copy this component and then paste it right in here. So after that, I'm going to come right in here and then say confirm password. Then the next thing I'm going to do, which is very important, is to attach name attribute to these components. So I'll attach both name and then value attributes, which are going to help us to make use of our state within those different. So to do that, I'm just going to come right in here. So I'll say, so in this case, I'm going to come right here and then I'll say this is going to be our, so I'll add value. So in this case, I'll specify the value to be the name, which I'm going to set in a second. And then I'll do name. So in this case, I'll add a name. In this case, our name is going to be, so just call it username. And then I also do the same thing for, so I'll just copy this. So I'll do the same thing for our email. I'll just come right in here within our email, paste this. So in this case, this is going to be our email. So I'll say this is going to be also for email. So I'll do the same for the password and come put just below the placeholder, I'll put the value and the name. So in this case, we're going to have a value of, let's say, so we're going to say password, and then in this case, we're going to say this is going to be our password. So I'll do the same thing for the confirm password. So I'm just going to come and basically test this. So I'll just call this, actually, I'll call this confirm password, and then this one will also be confirm. So I'm just going to give it a name of confirm password. So after doing this, the next thing is going to be to track that state within our buttons. So what I'll do is to actually come and use the use state hook. So before I do that, let me add a submit button to this form. So I'm going to use the button that comes with React Bootstrap. We need to just come right in here, and then I'm also going to import button. So after importing button, I'll just come and simply create another form group. So I'm going to say it's going to be dot this case. Then what I'll do is to actually create a button, and then what I'll give it, the first thing I'm going to give this button is the as attribute. So in this case, we need to specify the as attribute, and then within here I can have the different attributes that we can have of a button. So in this case, I want a button of submit. Let me try to get it. So just come here. What we need is a button of type submit. So I'm going to call this type submit. So the next thing I'm going to give this button, and then it's going to be a variant. So a variant is going to help us to style this button. In this case, I'm going to say that our variant is going to be primary, so that our button is a primary color. So after doing this, I can also add the value that's going to be within our button. So actually, what I'll do is to actually say button, then I'll add the text. So in this case, it's going to be sign up. So I'm going to save this, and when I save this, I'm going to go back to our, so we see that confirm password is not defined because you haven't designed them. So what I'm going to do is to use the state hook to be able to sign up these different things. I mean, to be able to keep state of these different values. So what I'm going to do is to import use state from React. So I'll import use state. I need to come here and then say const. So this is going to be const. So I'll set the username and then the state updater. So the updater function is going to set our state every time we shall update it. So in this case, we shall say set username. In this case, set name. So in this case, it's going to be our use state hook, and then we shall pass in an empty value. So what this means is actually that we shall have a username and then a function to update our username. So the initial state of the username in this case will be an empty string. And every time we may want to update the state of our username, we just simply have to set the username to something, as we're going to see. So I also do the same thing for our email. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to copy this and paste it right here and paste it. So I'm going to do it 4 times. So this will be our email, and then this will be set email. So this will be our password, and then this is going to be set password. So I do the same thing for confirm password, and then set confirm password. Actually, I call this set confirm password. So we basically set the state of these different values. So I save. Going to hope that our sign up form is going to show up. So right now we see that our username is not defined. So let's try to see. So right now we see that our form is now defined. So we can go ahead and also add some different stylings to our form group to show, to be able to fix the way it's looking. So what we can actually do is to actually, instead of styling it, we can just solve this by adding some line breaks. So I'll do is to come and add some line breaks in here. Then I'll add some line breaks in here. Excuse me for doing this. So I'll come and add some line breaks in here. So after doing this, I'm going to save. And when I save, we see that now we have some space on our form groups. And the next thing is going to be to style up this form component so that we see that our form is kind of centered. So to do that, I'm just going to come within our main.css. Remember that our main.css is having our styling. So to do this, I'm going to just come and say .form. And then what I'll do is to say, which I'll give it a margin of auto, and then let's say a width of let's say 80%. So we shall give it a width of 80%. Now when I save this, we see that our form is now a little bit centered. Now after doing this, the next thing is going to be to to see how we can change our state within our sign up form. So what we're going to actually do is to create a function that's going to submit our form and be able to do something with the data we submit in our form. What we're going to actually do is to come within sign up. So I'm going to add an on click to this button. What I'll do is to say, so in this case, it's going to be on. So I'll just add an on click listener, an on click handler. And within on click, I'll just say submit. So I'll just say submit form. So when this form is submitted, we expect that it's going to send data to our server. However, we can be able to try to play around with it and see how we can play around with the state within this form. So to do that, just come back to our browser. So I'm going to go back to Chrome. Actually, what I'll do is to create the function submit form. So I need to come right here. So in this case, I'll say const. So this is going to be our submit form. This is going to be simply an R function. It's going to just console log. So this is going to console log. Wow, this console log form submitted. So I'll just console log form submitted just to show that the form has been submitted every time we click submit. So after doing this, I'm just going to go back to our browser. So I'll just come and inspect element. So when I inspect element, I'm just going to go to our console. So I go to our console, I'll just come. So we now see that we don't have any way we can update our state. Can't type anything. Just because we set our state to empty strings and we don't have anything that can update this state. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to come back to our code, and within our form inputs, we're going to add a function that's going to basically change our state on input. So what we're going to do is to say on change. So I need to add an on-change listener. So it's going to listen for any times we put text within our input. So this is going to be on change, and then we need to create a simple function within this. So it's going to take in an event, and then what it shall do is to set the username to the event target, to whatever we put in the inputs to make it easy. So this is going to be a set. So just like you saw, I created a set username function that's going to basically take in event dot target dot value, which is equal to the value of whatever we shall input within our input. I need to save this. I save this. So right now we can see that I can be able to add something within our inputs. So I need to do the same for the email, the password, and then the confirm password. I'll come right in here, and then right here I can say on change. So I'll say on change, and then create the same thing. So just create a function that takes in an event, and then uh, sets the form input, sets the value of the form of the email to whatever we input in this email input. So what I'll do is to actually say set email. Then this is going to be event dot target dot value. I'll do the same thing for the password. So I'll just come here and say on change. So this is going to be event. Then we shall say this is going to be our set password. So we shall set our password to whatever is within our password. So I need to remove this, and we shall say set password to event dot target dot value. So now after doing this, we can be able to add some text within our password. So I'm just going to copy this again, and then just paste it within here. So I'll just say it's going to be set password. So this will be set. So let's say confirm password. So this is going to be set confirm password to event or target dot value. We need first tidy this up. We need to format it. So I'll just come right here and format this to make it look a little bit neater. After doing this, I'll just come, so we can now be able to input whatever we input within our elements. And the same for the confirm. Now when we submit, we expect that it's going to console log form submitted. Now we can see that our form has been submitted. So what we want in this case is to be able to get the different values of these states or whatever we set within our inputs. So we're going to briefly console log them so that we can be able to keep track of their values. So I'm going to go to our submit form function, and then we shall simply console log. So I'll console log our username, and then I'll console log our email. I'll also console log our password, and then I'll console log. I'll say console.log. This will be confirm password. So what I'll do is to actually come right in here. So if I console log, we see that whatever we put in our form has been console logged. We can also set this to our empty strings in case we have submitted our form. So to do that, what I'm going to actually do is to so what I'm going to actually do is to come right in here and then say so in this case we shall say set username. So I'll set the username to an empty string. I'll also set the email to an empty string. Also set the password an empty string, as well as I set confirm password. So I'll set that confirm password to an empty string. So I'm going to come right in here and then refresh. So this time we expect, so we see that set confirm is not defined. So this will be set confirm password. So when I save, we see that now our form is rendered. So every time let's say we put in our username, our email, our password, and our confirm password. So if we submit, we see that every time we submit, our form is reset, and then we console log whatever we submitted. So we are going to also go ahead and create our login form, and it's not going to be so different from what we've done. In the next video, we shall see how we can be able to hook this up with our API and be able to sign up as well as log in our user. So let's go ahead and create our login form. So I'll come right here and go to our login.js. So within our login.js, I'm simply going to copy some of the styles you have, some of the things you have in here. So I'll just come and copy this whole component. So just going to come and copy this whole component and paste it within our login.js. So just going to come here and paste it within our login.js. So I'll save. So we see that now we have our form not being defined. So we're going to fix all this. So what I'll come and do is to import, sorry, form. So I'll say import form from, it's going to be React Bootstrap. So basically this is going to destructure this. So this is going to be import form from React Bootstrap. After doing this, the next thing is going to be to create our form. So in this case, what we need is, so I'll call this our login. I need to call this login. And then what we need is a username and a password. So I'm going to remove this. Going to remove this. I remove the email. I also remove the confirm password. Then we shall just remain with our, so in here I'll just call this login. I'll call this login. Now we also have our different states, for example, the password as well as the username. So let's go ahead and work on them. What I'll do is to actually come just before our return statement. So I just come and say const, so username, and then our function that's going to update our username. So this will be set username, then it will be use state. So we're going to use state. So then we're going to set it to an empty string. I'll also do the same thing for our password. So I'll say const password. So this will be our password. Then set password. So then this is going to be our use state. Then we shall set it to an empty string for now. So another thing that we haven't yet defined is our submit form function. So I'll come and just do that. So in this case, I may even just call it something like, let's say, load user. So change this and call it user. Sorry for that. So this is going to be login user. Now I'm going to come to the top and then say this is going to be const. And so this is going to be const login user. And then it's going to just be a simple function that's just going to console log our username and our password. So I'll just say console dot log. So I'll also console log password. So after console logging, these passwords are also set the initial state to empty string. So I'll say set username to an empty string, as well as set the email to an empty string. I mean save. When I save this, I'll simply come to our login. So I'll just come here and refresh. So we have set emails not defined. Let's try to see. So this is password, so this set password that, so have username, set password, and okay, let's try to see here. Have button not being defined. Let's try to fix that first. So I need to come right in here and import our button. So I'll say button. Let me save this. Now we see that we have set email not defined. So actually this is supposed to be set password. So I need to fix that. So right now we see our sign up form. Now when you go to our login, we also see our login form as well. So after doing this, the next thing is going to be to basically add some links that can be able to redirect a user to the sign up if they don't have an account, as well as redirect a user to the login in case they already have an account. To do that, I'm just going to come within our login form. I'll just create a simple form group. So this is going to be form dot group, and then within our form dot group, I'm just going to add a simple small semantic tag that's going to make the text smaller. So right in here, I'll say do not have an account. So say do not have an account. Then you shall just add a link. So I'm just going to come and import link. So import the link from React router, and then I'll just come right in here and create a link. So this is going to be a link. This will be a link. Then shall just add in some text create. So I'll put the two attributes. It's going to specify the route we navigate to when we click on it. So this will be our sign up. And save. Go back. We already have that, and it takes us to our sign up page. So I'm going to also go ahead and do the same thing for the sign up page. So I'm going to go back to our VS Code, and then I'm going to just copy this form group that we've created. I need to go to signup.js, and then just below our submit button, I'll simply come and change this. So I'll change this to already have an account, then it shall redirect to our login. So I'll say already have an account. So it's going to be already have an account. So in this case, we shall say login. So I'll just come right here and say login. So I'll save this. So after doing this, when you go back to our front end, see that link is not defined. So I'm going to import it from React router. So I'll come right here, up and say import link. So save. So when I save, we go to our sign up page. So right in here, we see that link is not defined. Let's try to fix this. So when I go to login, imported link, sign up, we also imported link. So let me try to refresh. So now we have our sign up route. So maybe I'll add a simple line breaks, just separate that. So I'll do the same thing for the login. So after saving this, just going to have a simple, so already have an account. It's going to take us to the login. So this will have to take us to the create an account. So we shall have to sign up in case we don't have an account, and we shall have to log in case you already have an account. In this video, we've been able to see how to create a login and sign up function in React.js. Thank you for watching, and remember to please tell me what you feel about these videos in the comments, and please subscribe to the channel if you're new to this channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye.